Family attorney and partner at Zimré and Finel. François Zimré, former ambassador at large for France on human rights. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24.
Merci.
We saw that statement by another one of Carlos Ghosn's attorneys denying embezzlement. Did those payments, though, take place?
No. He's very clear. And my excellent colleague Jean-Yves Le Bon said it very clearly. Mr. Ghosn and his defense attorney, they deny completely these accusations. I come in this case with a very specific angle, which is the one of human rights, which is the one of fair trial. And I don't think that's normal, that since the very moment he has been arrested, and this has been prepared as a show, this arrestation in presence of the media, since the very moment, every week, you have some news that pop up. And can you imagine that after more than 107 days of detention, in a very difficult detention, very brutal, he has not full access to the charges against him. So
that's the Nissan part of the dossier. Now it seems like we're entering new territory now with Renault saying, "Hey, we've done our audit and we found these."
It's optical because this is due to the information sent by Nissan, and there is definitely,
even though this comes from Renault.
Yes, and it doesn't come from Renault. It will be presented to Renault soon, according to what I see in the media. But can you imagine that this so-called report of investigation has not paid interest in asking Mr. Ghosn or Mr. Ghosn's lawyer his opinion? It would be, how would you like the Renault board member to take decisions which would be important for the company, for the board, and for their responsibilities as well, in terms of liabilities as well? How would you like them to be instructed if they do not receive the other version? There is a sentence I like, which is true in life, in daily life, and it is true in law as well. It's la vérité comme un dialogue. Truth is like a dialogue. And so far we have had in a public monologue, and no one has...
So there was no money funneled to Lebanon, there was no purchase of a yacht in the British Virgin Islands?
There is a clear denial from Carlos Ghosn of any offense committed. So all the allegations, because you said yourself, and you're right, it's allegation, no more than allegations. They have to be responded in details. And it's not fair, it's not normal that someone is presented to the public as guilty since the very beginning, because it will make very difficult evidence of his innocence later.
Is it becoming harder by the day when we see the general public? Already there had been a controversy in 2016 over his payments, which were legal, but which shocked a lot of people, the high salary.
I understand.
Now there's the party at the Palace of Versailles. There's all these new fresh allegations, and there's just a general context.
Absolutely, you're right. But there is, we live in an era of great confusion. And if I may, it's more global than in this case. You mentioned the Brexit, you mentioned all the changes of our world. I think that the key word of our time is confusion. And there is definitely a confusion between some aspects that appears to be not in accordance with the requirements of our time, of decency, of what the public wants to see and find socially acceptable or not. But this might be criticized, this might be discussed, this might unplease, but it's not an offense. And I think that the mission of the judge is to draw the very difficult line, which is sometimes difficult to see, between the very thin line between the mistake and the wrongdoing, and the offense, the crime. And yes, I understand that all these on the salaries and this amount, as you said, might be legal, but might shock the public opinion. But thanks God, public opinion is not
one final question, François Zimré. In this country, Renault, it's an institution. And the fact that the boss was paid through this holding in the Netherlands, which is only done for tax optimization purposes. Is that scandalous in your view?
No, I think as far as I'm informed, this has to be checked once again, but as far as I'm informed, this existed before him. And he at this time, when this was set up, he was chairman of Renault and Nissan. He was leading the two companies. So the discussion where to put the Alliance company, and it has been decided before him that it will be in Netherlands. So, but once again, the point is just to know if it's a crime or not. And you say what represents Renault for France, and you mentioned how shocking could be the salaries. Let's put some facts on the table. Everyone could discuss the style of management, the lifestyle, everything. But something which cannot be discussed is the value of Renault, which belonged to the French people partly, before Carlos Ghosn and at the end of his mandate. The value had 1 billion euros more, plus the dividends which has been paid to the French the shareholders. So if the question is to know if Carlos Ghosn has enriched, contributed to make the French richer, the answer is yes. And this is simply a fact. All right. It doesn't say that everything is allowed. I'm not saying that. But I think that one should not live in the realm of confusion. There is things that are crimes.
There's what's legal and there's what's ethical.
Absolutely.
And we can discuss at length. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
What's definitely not legal and not ethical is to hold someone in detention for more than 100 days in the conditions which were his detention, deprived of his right to know his charges, to prepare his defense, and to continue to present him as a guilty person without giving him the opportunity to defend himself. He has not so far access to the whole charges against him.
François Zimret, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
A week from Friday is when the UK